Alrighty, let's hope that that's working. Alright, what do we have? Come on, YouTube, do your thing. That's probably fine anyway. What do we got? Excellent connection. Okay, and I can see myself. Alright, apparently YouTube streaming does work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to call for the afternoon net in a second, and also I've got girlfriend behind me, but out of shot. Yep, you probably won't be able to hear. It's all good. Okay, so at the moment I'm just monitoring Whisper. I'm going to change that now. I'm going to actually just close WSGTX. I don't really do FT8, but yeah. It's there, just listening, seeing what's open. Actually, I can show you what I've heard, even though I've got no viewers. That's okay. That's not the point. There's two sites that I can use. We've got Whisper Rocks, and we've got WhisperNet. Assuming that this is going to work. I also have a fan on me, so hopefully that's not a problem. Let's go map. There we go. Everything I've heard in probably the last hour or something like that. This one's a little bit better. I also actually need to open up another Firefox here so I can actually look at YouTube, what it's doing. Alrighty, let's go map. Live streaming, no one. But it's going to be a video so people can watch it if they want to. But yeah, what the plan is today is after the net's done, I can tell them, hey, I recorded this. Would you want me to tell them at the start? It's all good. Alright, so 15 meters is open to South America. 20 meters is a little bit closer. I've seen this before actually. Oh, Russia, okay. That's not where Russia is. That's not where Germany is. They must have their grid set up wrong. Alright, the other map's like that too, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alright, okay. Anyway, that's everything I've heard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to... Oh, Mumble's actually running. Close this. Close that. Get off that beeping tone. Let's go to 40 meters. Go off data, lower sideband. 7132. Oh, here we go. They're already on. Okay, I'm watching my own stream now. I have to mute this. There it is. Okay, there's probably like a 30-second delay on the stream. Need to make sure my audio works. I'm pretty sure it will. Recording Mumble. I've got a crazy audio setup. And it looks like mic to Mumble's going to work, so I should be fine. Oh, I don't have the source on. Hang on. Yeah, that's wrong. Hang on. I've got this set up wrong. Easy effects. Oh, no, I want to do recording from...
anything happening like that in Rockhampton,
There we go. Now you should be able to hear the stream audio.
VK4GDL, VK4NSP.
VK4, Golf Delta Lima.
Okay, there's Chris.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's what you can get away with television. Yeah, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. The problem with doing a live news broadcast, particularly in the days of tape. I mean, you've got to have machines out there to roll the stories and so on and so forth. I mean, most news are just intros and outs and intros and outs. They're all edited together and played out of a server. But if back in those days, I'm assuming it was some time ago, it got a little bit more complicated. Yeah, they used to do sports and stuff here. Some many years ago, but I don't know about a live news. Yeah, gets rather complicated to do that sort of stuff. But it is what it is. It's kind of like the days of OBs for radios where they actually took a box of records with them, and had turntables, and not just doing, intros and outs and have you back to a studio where they insert the content. Nah. Anyway, those days are gone. Steam-powered radio. Oh, gee whiz. Now it's all plasticine and chewing gum.
I'm using VNC. This is actually a remote desktop.
I'll put it over to you, Chris, and if you, pass it down. It doesn't matter. Only got 3 of us here. VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. I ended up wanting to try streaming, so I'm actually kind of streaming at the moment, if that's all good. It seems to be going. It's more for that friend that's in the Philippines that they don't really they have a high noise floor. They can't hear much. They do have a radio, but obviously they can't talk on it. So yeah, I've just got my Pi in the background and also the WF view there. Anyway, yep, that's just my story for today. I didn't do any radio work or anything. I did leave Whisper running in the band hopping mode, so I was just recording. Well, not recording. I was spotting everyone I could, and it wasn't bad. Anyway, I'll hand it to Sean there. VK4 NSP, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
Yeah, okay, Chris. You're only about 5 and 9 at the moment, but I'm sure the band is going to pick up again shortly. As we've noticed, the last few days there seems to be it starts off a bit down, but normally comes up fairly quickly. So we'll see how it goes. But you're 5'9" plus 5 or something, so not too bad. And okay on the streaming. I must admit your stream that the address you sent me sounded pretty good. I was using that for one afternoon when it got fairly noisy here. So even on your loop antenna, which is mainly your receive antenna, I was able to receive people that were probably in the noise to me with my shocking noise. And I don't know how Robert's noise is there at the moment, but and also too, Robert, I do remember. Was it football and a few other things I used to do? I remember when I got a phone call from someone I used to do a bit of work with outside broadcast down in Brisbane when I first moved back to Rockhampton, and he basically said, do you think you'll be able to give us a hand when I'm looking at maybe doing outside broadcast with the football up your way? So I was thinking about, doing the Queensland Cup or something, but I don't know if it actually went ahead, but it might actually be internal, streaming or something. But that was probably, I don't know, over 10 years ago now. So I don't know what they used to do in town here. But, okay, well, that's good. I saw there's still a fair few old RTQ7 videos on YouTube with some of the live stuff I used to do. So they've kept that up there on YouTube. But I was wondering, when did you actually start on at RTQ7/Win? Because I know the guy that started before you. He went off to Wollongong, I think, after
Also, because
he
usually
left up
these chats
here.
are really long, I write down
And
what
I just
I
can't
want to talk
remember
about
his
at the top of
name.
this
It's on the
list.
tip of my tongue. Anyway.
But it's only three of us, I don't need to
okay.
do that yet.
I'm just not sure what year you actually started here locally. There, Robert, but I've been up and down. You know, I've been back to Rocky a couple of times
the
and
Philippines
moved
friend.
away.
And then TM, there's Leveler from Dark
Anyway,
Multiplayer.
back to you there, Robert. VK4DE and the group, VK4 and SP.
Okay. You know, I started at the end of 99, 2000. With
yeah, the chat's got like a 30-second delay. That's kind of going to be painful, but anyway.
No, Kim Sherbert didn't go to Wollongong.
The band is super quiet today. There's no lightning noise whatsoever.
He went to one of the fibre optic
300 kilometers away,
that were
and SP I think is about 500 or
data networks and what have you. Yeah. So that was Kim. Who else was there? There was hardly anyone left when I started.
I think I'm going to
match people everywhere. Anyway. That's the story there. I finished up with them 2014, I think. We wangled it so that I could hang in there until I get the 15 years. Then they pretty much, closed the place down. They centralised back down into Sydney, their play-out centre. Well, yeah, we all knew that. That was happening.
This is the cheapest microphone in existence.
But it was an interesting place to work. It was, they're going, they're all cheapskates, I said, no, they're just frugal. Very frugal. Gee whiz. Which was a bit of a difference because I came from essentially Seven Network who, they didn't throw money away, but look, if they wanted something done, they would do it. And, they'd just go, yep, do it. Which was a very different way of thinking. Gee whiz. Then when I went to work for SCA, I thought Winwood and Frugal. Wow, these guys were like, I know fishes might have something to do with that. Anyway, there we be. Now, Chris, that's a bit cruel. If they live in the Philippines, I've seen pictures of the, interbuilding power wiring and goodness knows what else. The spider webs from Mars or something like that, I think. Very common in those areas. Oh, gosh, could you imagine it? The population density and just the sheer amount of, noisy devices. Oh, that's cruel. You're street now. Oh, look how quiet it is. Oh, look, pristine day. Bit evil. I like that. Ah, dear. Actually, my noise, touch wood, certainly hand on forehead, yep, is great today. So that's got me beat. That noise is just not consistent, but hopefully I haven't spoken too soon. And as I said, it's sort of predominantly summer, for whatever reason that is. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Up to you, Chris. VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. I'm actually also streaming it to YouTube so they can see how I operate remote. So yeah. Anyway, the Philippines comment. Oof. Yeah, he's got an awful noise floor, and he's kind of trying to experiment with SDR antennas, or antennas, I guess, in general, to try and get something that's a little bit better. I'm honestly surprised that receive antenna that I have is even useful, because it's a loop on ground, but not on the ground. I showed you the picture of it, I think. I showed Sean the picture of it. It does okay, but I think it's about 10 dB down compared to my radio. And I'm definitely going to agree with you on band conditions today, because my waterfall either side of us is completely black, and my reference level isn't in the middle. It's up near the top a bit to try and get the waterfall up. So the noise floor today must be extremely low. It's very, very good. If anything, your signals are down a bit. I'm gonna say you're only about a 10 dB down, but that's because it's only 4:30, and I think you come up usually to 20 over in a little bit. You're only sitting at plus 10 at the moment, so it's all good. Yeah, and oh, oof. Apparently my parents' internet is good enough to show the waterfall. Otherwise, I turn it off sometimes when they run out of the speed there, and I start hearing some stuttery audio. But otherwise, I think it's okay. I didn't do anything with my microphone either. I didn't bother equalizing it because the last time I tried to do that, it sounded awful. So I probably need to look into changing the bandwidth setting on the icon itself to try and do DX, maybe. But I might have to write something in CAT software to do that. I did a little play with turning. I accidentally left the monitor on, and I heard myself in mumble the other day. It was awful. So I looked up the CAT command and just sent that to the serial port, and it turned the monitor off. So it seems like using CAT's actually pretty easy. What I did is I just wrote it in a hex editor and then sent it to the serial port. Anyway, I'll hand it to Sean there. VK4 NSP VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
Yeah, okay, fine there, Chris. And yeah, probably about 10 dB down. You're, I don't know, 5.9, 5 over 9. But I can hear you okay. And yeah, I don't have too much noise at the moment, but yeah, as soon as
Sean's really down.
the lights get turned
7.
on, yeah, I get about, I don't know, S9 or so noise. So it makes it a little bit difficult on some people, but at the moment it's not too bad. And yeah, definitely, mate. No, your streaming one that you had on, or you still got on now. As I said, I was using it the other day, and it seemed to be very good, and also able to log in and change whatever. The other thing too, I think I spoke to Robert about it, is there's a guy out at Bouldercombe, which I haven't spoken to for quite a while. He actually sent me an email saying that you're most welcome to hop on to my online station, and yeah, I was actually quite happy that my receiver may not be as bad as I think it is, because I was definitely receiving a little bit better than what he was, which was, my antenna is fairly short, of course, and he's using a 160 meter loop up about 10 meters or so. So yeah, I don't know. But I was maybe a little bit better than what he was receiving, but the signal to noise is what is much better than what I was getting here. So when my noise comes up, he would only have about an S3 noise. So yeah, I wish I had his receiver here, because yeah, that's what if you can't hear him, you can't talk to him, obviously. And his signal to noise was very good. So probably something similar to what Tony probably gets down in Gympie as well. And yeah, very nice. With the preamp turned off, it's nearly zero. Probably something similar to what you
critical frequency
you get there, Chris, as well. But all good. And okay, Robert, yeah, it might have been the guy I was thinking of. I just can't think of his name at the moment. But yeah, he used to be at RTQ7 years ago. As a chief engineer, so I'm not sure, it might have been the 90s sometime, I don't know. But he moved down to Wollongong and worked down there for a little while, also in radio as well. And the best thing he did, he reckons, I think in about 1997 or something, he went into his own engineering firm. So he used to hire out to all of Sydney, Wollongong, the Central Coast. And the reason why I actually knew him is that he actually came and gave me a hand one day in Gosford. And yeah, fantastic bloke. I just can't remember his name, which is quite embarrassing. But yeah, he had a fantastic history of the old RTQ7 when he was up here. And yeah, and I'm sure he's probably still got his business down in Wollongong still. But yeah, definitely helped me a lot. And one of these guys that says that radio is only a part of TV. So, yeah, like his knowledge on some of the old Harris transmitters was absolutely amazing. You get other people in to have a look at it and they wouldn't really know. And then he would come on and have it going in about 2 hours or something. Absolutely amazing guy. But anyway, can't think of his name now, but I'll probably think of it a bit later on. Okay, over to you there, Robert, VK4DE and the group, VK4NSP.
VK4PA.
Tony.
Ooh, you're sounding a little bit rough there, Tony.
Am I? Okay, could be. I'm using the ELAD. I'll just check it. I'll be back later.
Roger. Okay. Yeah. Right. I'm not sure. There was quite a few people. Back then, I was actually in Mackay at MBQ6 or 7 network. Oh gosh. Anyway, all good. Yeah. Well, I mean, radio is only part of TV. I mean, it's the talky bit. Yeah, the rest of it's the interesting bit. Gee whiz. Love camera. Working on cameras and stuff like that. My studio cameras tweaked up very nicely. Had all my OB news cameras tweaked up. All the production cameras. Then we went to CCDs. Yeah, that was interesting. All good. Now, when you say your noise floor, you should be able to, put the preamp in and see whether or not that gives you any deflection on the S meter, Chris. That would be kind of interesting, but I don't know how you'd get on. I mean, there are a lot of hands, but my take on it, particularly places like Philippines, what have you, is they all use VHF, UHF pretty much as standard, because you see a lot of them. They're always got handhelds, and very rarely do you see and I do see them from time to time, but you rarely see someone with a HS station. It's always mobile, handheld, or whatever. So that's good. The band has been dropping in and out. There's been certainly some QSB. So hopefully it's going to stay in more than it stays out. Anyway, up to you, Chris, and if you can pass it on to Tony, VK4PA, that would be awesome. And Tony, if you can hand it back to Sean, VK4GDL, VK4DE.
VK4HAX.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. I'll hand it to Tony there, and also acknowledging Brad there, VK4HAX. I guess I could do a little test. I know it's going down to 0, but I'd have to just stop transmitting for a second or just move off frequency the next time we have an over. But yeah, it is very, very low. I don't see a single speck whatsoever. So yeah, it's pretty good conditions today, at least as far as noise goes, which is usually what I'm limited by. I also, the lightning arrestor come today. I don't know exactly where I want to put it along the feed line, because, I don't know, I'll figure that one out. Hopefully it works. I haven't, this would be the ground for my stations. Actually, that's actually the primary purpose of it, because I don't have anything grounded. It's floating, which is probably not great. But yeah, anyway, it's all good. I might, Yeah, I didn't have any trouble with, Tony there. You sounded perfectly fine to me, but I don't know, maybe some weirdness that you heard. It sounded like good audio and everything, so whatever. Anyway, I'll hand it along to Tony there, VK4PA, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. And HX.
Tony, you there, VK4PA?
Run out of radio quarters, did he?
Okay, well,
joke from yesterday.
Brad, you take it and hand it to Tony. Hopefully he's got something sorted out there. VK4HX, VK4DE.
Yeah. VK4DE in the group, VK4HAX returning. G'day, boys. Yeah, Sean, Robert.
Oh, Brad's
Chris,
nice and strong today, plus
Tony.
20.
Yeah, good conditions tonight. I've got absolutely no noise to speak of either.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down 3 and then have a look at what my noise floor actually is.
0.
I need to move. So 0 preamp. Preamp 1 is. I'm still probably a little bit close. About an S2 on preamp 1.
Is 150. Sunspot numbers 89.
Actually, I'll do it on the upside. Better. There's someone talking in the background there at 139. I'll just stay there.
The world is
on
very, very quiet. And the noise level is S0 to S1. So, there you go. That probably explains it a little bit. Plus, we don't have any storms in the area at the moment. Not that I'm hearing anyway. Alright. Yeah, nice day today. Bloody hot. Yeah,
Yes, it has been.
But it was nice in the freezer. Yeah. So, yeah, had heaps to do today. Had lots of stuff turn up. And, yeah, lots of spaces to wheel all that crap into. And it's just amazing how much of that stuff went out the door today. God, unbelievable. Yeah. But anyway, that's life in the world of food. The thing with food is everybody eats it. Aye, aye. Yeah, no, all good. So, having said that, I'll hand it over to Tony if you're back. Yeah, you sound all right to me too. I didn't detect any, yeah, anything nasty going on there. VK4PA and the group, VK4HAX.
Yeah, VK4PA. Well, I got out Robert's Mars modifications and I wheeled all over the planet here and I couldn't find anything wrong. So I just basically swapped. I went from, well, with the ELAD, it's a little bit different than every other radio in here, so I swapped from the voice meter input to a direct input from the road, direct into the USB connect. Anyway, we won't go into the complexities of it, but basically I just bypassed the voice emitter on the mixer here. Sorry, not the mixer, the software. Anyway, I hope it's all right now. I got some squiggles on the screen today. I hope that's not a sign of something going on in the neighbourhood. You know, the squiggles about every 10 kc, all up and down the screen. I don't know, whatever that is. I hope that's not going to be a thing of my life. It never ends, does it? And I'm guessing we've got HIX, NSP, GDL, DE, and PA. I don't know. That's all I've got. I'm out of booze. I've only got 1/4 of an inch in the glass here with an ice cube in it. Tomorrow's shopping day. Be quiet, Brad. I can hear you thinking from here. Robert, yeah, good luck with your dummy load. It doesn't matter if you had it bolted to a piece of sheer gold with silver heat transfer liquid. Won't make any difference. Doesn't have time to transfer when it goes. I just crank her up. The ones I had, yep. 100, 150, 151, poof! Didn't even have time to get hot. So I hope you have better luck than me. Mind you, I had Chinese ones. So maybe they build them special in China. Don't know. Speaking of that, no Ryzen computer. Supposed to have been here 2 days ago was the final cut-off date through Amazon, and it still ain't here. And the microphone, it's still at the post office it got dropped off at, down in Silverwater or Springwater or some other such water down south in Sydney. Rang up the post office today and they said, oh yeah, it was dropped off on the post office on the 28th. I said, yeah, any other tracking? No. Anyway, Yep. Anyway, I don't know who to put it to, so maybe I'll put it to Sean there. You can work it out there,
That's
mate.
correct.
And tell me the order, VK, and let me know if I wasn't being roboted there with the audio. VK4NSP, VK4PA in the group.
Yeah, okay, fine there, Tony. VK4PA in the group, VK4NSP. Yeah, I think it's conditions as well. A bit of QSB. And yeah, I thought you might have been a little bit choppy there, but yeah, I didn't really notice it too
Sometimes
much on
you
the
can hear
end
like
there.
a
I don't know
phase
if
noise.
it's
I don't
the
have
power
QSB
is
on anyone.
varying or something. I don't know. Anyway, but it wasn't too bad to me. What I'll do, I think Robert was the number one, so I'll put it over to you there, Robert, and then I guess you can put it back to me and we can go through the group, I guess. VK4DE and the group VK4NSP.
Oh, you're
Assembled the
doing
list.
such a good job.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are getting up me yesterday for not remembering if I was there or not, but that's all right. No, that was my fault. I wasn't really paying attention too much yesterday. I was doing too much stuff on the computer, so that was definitely my fault, but that's all right. Okay, well, I can start it off if you want there, Robert. That's fine. And very good afternoon to you there, Tony, and also Brad. Brad, yeah, for some reason the QSB doesn't really affect you. You're 20 over. Just that Tony and Chris are down a little bit, but it's been
He was
like
down to
that for the
7
last
before.
few days for whatever reason. But all good. And yeah, very hot up here, about 35 I think today, and we all know about that. We probably don't have to talk about the weather. We all know what happens this time of year. So just hot, that's all you can really say at this stage anyway. Okay, not much else to say on this round, so I'll pass it over to you there, Robert. And I still can't remember that guy's name. Anyway.
He just passed it for
A
Robert.
bit embarrassing because, yeah, I probably learned the most with him in the week or so that I was with him than anybody else, to be honest. But no, he was very good at what he does. Okay, over to you, Robert. VK4DE and the group, VK4NSP.
Oh, okay. It wasn't Peter Deven, was it?
No, it wasn't him. Yeah, I can picture him, but yeah, I just can't remember his name. I know that's. I'm good with faces and not good with names, which is a real pain. You know, I can tell who somebody is, but yeah, can't remember their name. But anyway. Hopefully one of these days I'll go the other way around would be nice. I can actually remember people's names. Back to you.
Oh, okay. I think we get that from our ancestors. The facial recognition thing. Yes, anyway. All good. Yeah, look, Australia Post. Now, I thought their tracking system was pretty shonky and dodgy prior to a few weeks back. When I say prior to a few weeks back, it could have been like maybe a month or so back, when on the weekend it went from tracking to, oh, our site's being updated and we're doing new software updates and blah, blah, blah. And I wonder, I'm getting the idea that, you know, perhaps the software update wasn't an improvement. We've all had those updates. Some work, some are not so good. But yeah. I mean, they totally lost the plot with the 7.6 that I sent down to Icon. It apparently spent 2 weeks at
right
some
down.
Brisbane
That's just
sorting
VNC.
place, and strangely enough, the software couldn't tell me where my package was. I actually had to ring the Australia Post and go through the countless press 2 if you're a manic depressant, press 3 if you're paranoid. You know what I'm saying. And usually spoke to a person and, said, hey, blah, blah, blah. So they have different visibility to what you get on the interweb. And I think that's also the case for a lot of the Australia Post agents. They just don't have that visibility. turns out the guy said, oh, yeah, no, it's at such and such a, sorting area, and, it's been there, they've had an issue with the address or something like that.
Starting to have internet problems, I might have to kill the...
wow. And that's when I said to you, Sean, the very next day, it was delivered to Melbourne. Like, they must have chucked it on an aeroplane and went, get that...
This is the wire guard link.
So yeah, absolutely amazing. So I'm thinking maybe their new software update wasn't such an update. Just an idea.
You can't see
I don't know. They're supposed to be. Those pellets are supposed to be good for 800 watts. That's what it said. 800 watts. And up in gigahertz, but I don't care about that. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get at least 500 odd watts out of it. And that's what I'm saying. Even getting the heat away from something that size, that's a lot of heat to get away. Yeah, I've seen 800 watt tungsten lamps. They generate a lot of heat. They get very, very hot too, so I don't know. I don't know. If you change, what mic are you using? It's just all very, very different, and yeah, whether or not you've got ALC or not, might like to let us know in your next over. Up to you, Chris. VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. I wasn't sure who was passing it to who for a second there. I thought you was going to go in a circle. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway. So I actually did get a dummy load today as well, and there is one problem with it. I ordered a PL259, and it turned up as an N-type. So yeah, that's a little bit of fun there. I guess I'll just have to buy an adapter for that. I can't be bothered disputing it. It's like the cost to send this back would be more than what it's worth, so I'm not going to bother. But yeah, it's just a little 50 watt dummy load. I think the idea of this is that when the lightning happens, I disconnected this and then put this across my radio. But that's when I actually get the antenna switchy thingo built. I haven't played around with that yet. I'm probably going to buy a little bit less scary relays that actually have the contacts where they should be, rather than running right through the middle of the relay, because that kind of scares me a little bit. Anyway, also, after the net yesterday, I ended up contacting a friend, and we had an SSTV contact. So I've dipped my toe into SSTV. It actually worked a lot better than I thought, because I was running 20 watts and they were running 10, and that was Victor Kilo 1 Tango Tango Yankee. So yeah, sent me a nice picture of a kitty. Of course, a big kitty, of course. Alrighty. Yeah, I might hand along anyway. I'll handle along. VK4PA, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. Oh, I didn't say my noise floor.
Yeah, okay, Chris, VK4PA.
Yeah, see, this is why I do this.
Check. SWR's good. I just swapped the antennas across to the Ultra Beam.
Because you
the
get
loop
to only talk like once
picking
every
up some people a lot
10,
stronger.
15 minutes.
About an S point stronger on the
It helps to write that down.
But north and south, that would be probably you, Chris, and Rocky are about a little bit stronger on the other one. But it's not only that noise I mentioned before, that hash noise I hope it's only just some local conditions. And probably the same conditions as upsetting the modulation, because I noticed you're a little bit fuzzy too. Actually, I can't put my finger on it, but it just sounds a little bit furry at the edges, and I'm pretty sure it's probably conditions. I did listen to myself here in the cans, and it was fine, and I can't really change anything here. It is what it is, and I'm using the ELAD today, and it's usually got I'm running a little bit wider bandwidth because I got the ELAD set to about 3.2, I think. Maybe 3.3.
I've only got my passband on 3.
But
as far as icon goes,
it should be exactly the same. Robert, I must apologise. I had another look at your picture, and it says 800 watts. I'm just about to send you an email, but I won't do it now. I'll cancel it. Turn that off. Okay. So it's an RN800. Okay. Well, I was a miserable bastard. I tried to do that by running 4 200-watt ones series parallel, because it's cheaper to run 4 of them than it is to run one. But I have a feeling that it doesn't matter. If I tried to, I don't think you can series parallel them. So maybe, let me know how you get on. I do tend to run them in a bucket of oil, but that'll just get rid of the heat a lot quicker. But that lump of copper will help for a couple of minutes. So yeah, you probably get away with it for a little bit. But yeah, there you go. All right. Let me just back off from the microphone. What have I got here? Maybe I'm a little bit too hard on it. But, I don't even know what the mic gain is on this. I better do it this way because I'm running it direct off the road. There we go. That's probably close. Yeah. N-type. Chris?
I think I'm going to lose.
Pretty close. No.
Pretty close.
I don't see how N-type and PL259 in the same sentence will work. They're a bit different, aren't they? So, yeah, never mind. Oh, well, if you've got an adapter, it's all well and good. You can make up an adapter cable anyway. What else? I don't know if we'll hear from Andrew tonight. He made a purchase, I believe. So, if he comes up, well and good. Otherwise, we'll wait and see with bated breath on that one. I'm out of booze now completely. I've only got water. So I'll have to go and get a glass of cool. It was only 35.7 here today. But I believe tomorrow's going to be hotter. We'll have to wait and see on that one. I'm using the SPE tonight too, by the way. Not the homebrew, because this little radio doesn't drive it very hard. I need a little bit more output to drive the 813s. Okay. Okay, over to you there. I guess it's Brad's turn. Correct me if I'm wrong. Certainly not my turn, so it must be Brad's turn. So there we go. Yeah, Australia Post. Yeah, I did that, Robert. I rang them up, and I've got to tell you, I got through pretty quick. And I got this very nice person. I don't know what country she was in, but she spoke very good English. Not quite Australian, but very good. And not like that. No, it wasn't South African. But very helpful, but basically she had no more tracking than I did on the system. Yeah, what can I say? Anyway, VK4HAX and the group VK4PA.
Brad likes waiting.
Yeah, no worries, Tony. Just leaving a little gap there. Yeah, VK4PA in the group.
Here's an open net.
VK4HAX returning, yes.
People can call in.
Australia Post. Yeah, well, you know, bearing in mind at this time of year, they're probably under the pump anyway, with all the Christmassy postage processing that they have to do. Yeah, etc. And, yeah, no doubt. It'll turn up. You'll get it. It's just frustrating when, yes, you're expecting it and you're waiting for it as long as you've been waiting for it and doing your tracking and all that sort of stuff, and nothing seems to move. It just sits there, you know, like, hello. And, yeah, but anyway, it'll turn up, mate. Alright, yeah, you're going to drink water. God, man. Why you punish yourself, I have no idea. I'm going to go out to the white cupboard very shortly and get a nice cold can of beer. Yes. After an early start today. Oh, man. God, I hate these early starts. Out of the house at 4. Yeah. Kangaroos. Spring-loaded rats releasing their springs right, left and centre in front of you. Oh, they're shits of things. So
He hit his car up.
So I was,
He ran one over the other week. Totaled his car.
Yeah, had a fair amount of work to do. Hey. Yeah, lots and lots of chips. Oh, man, we go through some chips. People love their chips, man. Absolutely love them. You sell them by the ton. An edge. Wow. Yeah, so I was flat out for that, doing all that crap for a couple of hours. Had it all squared away by about 9 o'clock. So I could actually, chill out a bit. Chill out, not in the freezer, but have a bit of a feed at 9 o'clock after I'd done it. So that was good. And what else happened today? Just rest of the days as normal. Picked out of town, got all that boxed off. Got another truck in tomorrow, of course, all the back order stuff. So we'll do that in the morning. So I'll start normal tomorrow. Out of here at 6, so get to work at 7. Not going to get there too early. I asked one of the other boys to come in an hour earlier because give Shano a hand to load up the truck for the Claremont Capella run. So that's going to be happening. I think I got the order right. So looks pretty good. So having said that, I'll move it right along to Sean, VK4, NSP in the group, VK4HAX.
Yeah, okay, Brad, VK4HAX in the group, VK4NSP. And I remember that person's name as well, Robert. It's Ian, of course. But also I just found a radio for sale, Kenwood TS820. And just the way it says here, TX is okay, VFO drifts on all bands. And I thought, yep, okay. And includes the VFO 820 as well. And very expensive, so I don't think I'll be going that way. But just the way it says, TX is okay, VFO drifts on all bands. But anyway, the condition of it looks okay, but I think I'll pass on that one. I have been looking at just an older radio, maybe hopefully a Kenwood of some description there. And I think Andrew saw one somewhere, but I can't find that particular one. I think that he found. But the one I found comes with the VFO, and way too much money for what it is, I guess. If it was working 100% maybe, but it looks like it's got a few issues there. Anyway, we'll look into it a bit more. I'm in no hurry, of course, and I haven't even seen the new FT710 yet there, Robert, so I have to look at that one as well, just to have a look at a newer radio, maybe in the near future there. So I don't know if you're going away for Christmas or anything there, Robert, but maybe we can have a coffee somewhere one day and have a bit of a look at the radio as well. I've got nothing on here. Everything's been done. That I had a hospital operation and that sort of thing. That's all completed now, so I don't have to worry about going out too much at the moment, which is good. And it wasn't me, by the way. It was another family member. Okay, I'll pass it over to you there, Robert. VK4DE and the group VK4NSP.
Okay, fine, sure. Ian, so it was a bit before my time there, but I think he was the transmitter tech. I think. Yeah. Anyway, good. Where do I start with that? The TS820 with speaker was on VK Ham, and from what I could find out, that sold at about 5 minutes after the ad went up. It was a good price. It was cheap, okay, let's have a look at it. The VFO is common to all bands, so if the VFO is drifting, well, probably likely to be drifting on all bands of the same amount. Just a hunch. Yeah, well, how much do they want for that one? Well, that could be interesting. Oh, no. Not really looking for one now. Yeah. Wait and see what happens. We've got a few other things happening, so I'd better behave myself. But, yeah, drifting on all bands. Well, yeah, I mean, the VFO is common to all bands. It's one of those things, yeah. Well, yeah, Tony, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm just taking it on face value. I mean, like, I bought them off eBay. They got to be good, eh? But, yeah, I just figured I'd try and put something together. And I was thinking of eventually doing the old, 2 in series and parallel those two sets up so that, it comes back to 50. Not to get 3.2 kilowatts, no, but to spread the heat out over a larger area. I don't think that copper plate would remain cool. It's 800 watts of heat going into it for too long. I've got some heat sinks there I've got to try, but I'm starting, I keep looking at it and keep doing the numbers on it, and I keep going, oh man, that needs to be some incredibly large heat sink. Okay, just a heads up, I've got a 50 ohm inverted commas 800 watt pallet, so this thing should, in theory, bolted to a large enough heat sink. We'll just think of the infinite heat sink type scenario. Convert 800 watts of RF into 800 watts of heat. Hopefully it'll be 100% efficient. Yeah, of course. But they're fairly large. I mean, they're 25 by 45 mil footprint. So they're not like the smaller ones I've dealt with before. But these ones have the resistor connected to 2 separate electrodes, so that you don't go back to the case. It's just free floating. Hopefully, that's what I was trying to achieve there. So well, we'll see how we go. See whether I can smoke them at 401 watts or something. Okay. Now, I'm not sure what you got, Chris. Like you said, you ordered a dummy load, and if you got an N-type connector on it, I mean, I've been buying some of these adapters. In fact, I've got 3 N-type male 2SO239. I'm not sure if that's the right way around that you want. But I've ordered another 5 of them. The main reason for that is pretty much all my dummy loads, attenuators, and blah, blah, blah are N-type. So to get into the world of ham radio, you've got to go from SO239 to N. And that's kind of convenient doing it that way. But these ones seem to be quite good. In fact, as I said, I've ordered another 5. For further use. But yeah, I think they've got all sorts of combinations, like, female N, male N, to 239 or to PL259, depending which way around you want it. So it might be something to have a look at, and I get those off of eBay. They're actually supplied by a guy in Australia. I'm not saying that they're Chinese, obviously. I mean, they're about $7 each or $6 each or something. I think it's free shipping, blah, blah, blah. But they've got a number of variants of them, so that might be something to have a look at. And I'll put it over to you, Chris, VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. Yeah, I ended up buying one of the adapters from, I think it's... I don't actually know which way N does it. I'm pretty sure with the pin, the one with the barrel, the outside screwy bit, I think that's the male end. So I don't know. I bought the right thing anyway. So stick your N in there and go to probably, I think PL259 is probably what I want to do, because I want to attach it to a remote switching box. But then again, I can do whatever connection I like for that, so it's all good. But yeah, the adapters, I don't go as high a class as eBay. That's just too far up the market for me. What I do is I use good old AliExpress. So yeah, it was like $2 or something. It's a lot cheaper for me to do that rather than like opening a dispute or shipping it back or anything silly like that. Anyway, and yeah, I did check the noise floor the other over there, but I forgot to say when I turn preamp 1 on, it goes up to about an S1 to an S2. So it's not as low as it is during the day, but it's amazing for this time of day. So yeah, it's pretty good there. I wanted to ask Brad, when you're putting your decal or whatever it is on your bonnet there, your spring-loaded rat with the little crosshairs and things like that, you got to have that on your vehicle, otherwise it might happen again, Anyway, and yeah, I've actually had a few days off as well because of rain, so I've been a little bit slack lately. Oh well, that's the way it is. And yeah, I may or may not be working on Christmas. Hopefully I'm not, because I like going down with our family to the beach house there. And oh, hey, that's an idea. Maybe I can take my radio. I just oh, that could be an idea. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's down at Bull Bay, so it's near Mackay. It's pretty remote. It's more remote than where my parents are. So yeah, and it's on the beach there, but I don't know if I want to, bring my 7300 to the salt water. That might be a little bit too much. Anyway, alrighty, I'll hand it along to Tony there, VK4PA, VK4 Golf Delta Lima. And that's how I do my thingo. Delete that on now. We've lost Tony.
Yeah, copy Tony, VK4PA.
His radio ran out of quarters again. I don't know. Alrighty. I guess, Brad, you can take it. VK4HAX, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
Yeah, no worries. I'll call in Tony after my over. Yeah, VK4GDL on the group, VK4 HAX returning. Yes, I was going to ask a question about these, what are they, dummy load thing, gizmos. Yeah. That, a couple of questions on it. Well, one's actually a question and one's actually a, thinking about the heat sinking, the design of heat sinks. For, I suppose, resistive, non-inductive resistors, high power, 50 ohm gizmos or whatever combination of resistors you'd put into a dummy load to obviously get it to a high power 50 ohm resistance or impedance for your for tests, etc. The first question, this is aimed at both Tony and Robert. So, yeah. The first one is, why can't you use a filament lamp, like a high-powered filament lamp? And I remember some filament lamps that were very high-powered, like 2 kilowatt for stage lighting and stuff like that. If you got the right combination, you can even get whatever wattage you want. You put them in series power now, and more power, the brighter they glow. I do know, and I do understand the concept that as the filament heats up, the resistance will change. But whether it's enough to affect the concept of just getting something into a dummy load for tuning purposes or whatever, I don't know. But it's just a question anyway. Because I have seen in literature that they have used light bulbs for for doing power testing. with I suppose light sensitive photo transistors or whatever. You've got a calibrated, you've got a light that's calibrated. It's a lamp that's thrown out, I don't know,
Which I can show you
100
that.
watts. And then you've got another lamp that's in another part of the enclosure, which is obviously shielded, of course, from the other lamp. And where did I see that gizmo? It might have been on the Great Britain radio handbook, the one the POMs put out. Yeah, I think they mentioned it or something. I have read it somewhere.
That's not fast.
Anyway, and the other thing I was going to say is, if you're using copper as a heat sink, and you've got it bolted or, mounted to the said resistor you want to cool, be very careful because as that copper heats up, there's a hell of a lot of an expansion coefficient, and the thing will expand. And if it's rigidly mounted to a ceramic type material, and obviously the heat's transferring from the ceramic to the copper, but it's rigidly mounted, it will crack. It'll take it out. So it's just a thought there from a mechanical perspective. I could be completely talking through a hole
Group's
in my
still a little
head,
bit
but,
small. Normally people call
which
in.
is quite possible, because I haven't got the mechanical thinking dog in the house at the moment. But it's just something to consider. I do know that copper expands something fierce when it heats up.
That sound you heard was a digital
sound. Aluminium does the same too. Yeah, I do know that, having used it for at varying temperatures. So all right. I won't waff on anymore. It's just something you might want to discuss or give an answer to, or whatever you want to do. All right, over to you
This
there,
is the
Tony,
frequency
and
of
if you could
the
send it
flare,
back up
the height of the
to
reflection,
Sean when you're finished.
and eventually it just won't reflect.
VK4 PA and the
Currently
great
it's sitting at about
VK4HAX.
8.5 megahertz. As long as it's above 7, then there's no skip distance. If it goes down to about 6.5, we'll start getting dropouts, but that won't happen. Usually not unless the solar flare goes off.
Earth to Tony. Might be having some problems. He's on the ELAB. Maybe the computer's crashed too. Maybe rebooting. Over to you, Sean.
Yeah, okay. Thanks there, Robert. All good. And I have to agree with you, Robert, on the first couple of overs. That this sounded, I don't know, there was something wrong there, but it seemed to fix itself or something. It doesn't really happen normally, but it seemed to be a bit better. But this sounded, I wouldn't say a power supply problem, but it just sounded like it was not dry.
You see the lines as they go across?
Amplifier, on that over, and it was a bit choppy to me. But anyway, that's all good. But the last over was fine. But as you say, maybe need to reboot the PC or something. It'd be interesting to see if it does the same thing on the new PC when it finally gets there to Australia Post. It's a bit of a shame because I used to be quite happy. I used to order all my computer parts from Sunshine down in Melbourne, and it was quite amazing. We're only talking a few years ago, and it'll take, if you order on a Wednesday or something, you'll get it on a Friday. No problem. And fairly large parts, computer part box or whatever. But now you'd probably, even with that same place, you'd probably at least be a week or so. That's not even in Christmas time. So anyway, hopefully that will improve. But the main thing that I think people are worried about is the tracking. If they get the tracking correct, at least you know where it is. Especially in your case, and also the guy who bought that really expensive ICOM transceiver. You like to know where it is. And that's the main issue. You know, if it was in Brisbane or something, it was just sitting in Brisbane, at least you know it's where it is. But if it's, you know, if it says, oh, it's still sitting in the post office in Rockhampton, what? Did someone take it home to use, or, you know, what's it doing in the back of the post office in Rockhampton? Did they set it up as a HF station in the back of the post office? Anyway, doesn't matter. But glad that it's been
all I've gotten so far is
arrived
November
down
4.
there, Robert, and they've already done the job for you. It's a bit sad when the repair takes less time than the postage, doesn't it? But anyway. That seems to be happening more and more, I think, these days. But, yeah, it should be the other way around. Should get down there in 3 days and take a week or so for the repair. But, anyway. Okay. And, yeah, I'll let Robert answer your question there. But I do know that there was a few companies that used to make tuners. You know, if you're... you know, Outback HF radios that used to tune up via light globe. So you don't have to worry about looking at a meter. You just the brightest light globe or whatever. Or, you know, when the globe gets to the brightest side of it, okay, that's good enough, and start talking. And I think there's a few companies used to do that, but anyway, makes it a bit easier when you got non-sort of radio people, I guess, using HF remote type transceivers, so they don't have to worry about they just tune it up via a light globe or something and start talking. But yeah, that's all good. But I guess, you know, a lot of broadcast transmitters are like that as well. You know, when the LED or globe or whatever bright, you know, when it's really bright, you know that it's tuned and whatever. But anyway, I'll let Robert answer that one for you. Okay, all good. Yeah, there's still a lot of QSB on the band. The band to me is not fantastic, but you know, signal is still over S9, but QSB is still there. Especially the worst today, I've noticed, is Chris seems to be the one that's really got a lot of QSB. Maybe that's due to the vertical antenna, maybe, but he really hasn't got past the 5/9 today. So yeah, maybe it's just the conditions at the moment. Okay, over to you there, Robert. VK4DE and the group VK4NSP.
Yeah, I'll try and take it. 4PA.
You're back.
Yeah, there's some weak DX in the background. I'll make this me final.
They're not weak.
I think everything is conspiring against me today.
So I'll just show you. This is my page. My little setup that I'm using.
I've got my new 16-port USB hub and I've plugged it into my old computer,
Yeah,
but I thought I'd have a Ryzen to plug it into by now, so
this
I
bit's
actually
mostly
haven't done
vertical.
any configurations or
obviously
anything.
not.
Apparently the little ELAG
This is still
uses,
like a good, what, 5 or 6
ports,
meters up in the air.
When I first turned it on, it came up with a big error on the screen. Oh, you've run out of resources. Switch stuff off. You got no more resources for USB. And I thought,
Oh, he's way down.
Anyway, so that's why I changed the connection, and I've changed it back now, and it hasn't spat the dummy. So I don't know. But I thought I would have had a different computer by now. So hence the reason I'm not too concerned about it until such times that I can actually configure it. Yeah, that and the noise, and there's a bit of DX coming in, calling CQ in the background, and the band is a bit dodgy, as you said. And Earth to Robert.
I've got the whole call sign. Oscar November 4, Bravo Whiskey.
Brad was going on about
let's actually just look him up.
Expansion rates and so on. Yeah, I could hear still, I just couldn't transmit. Send him a picture of your two-pronged monster. Hopefully it'll do what you want it to do, and I'm looking forward to you telling me that you're a beauty. So I want to hear that. But bear in mind, when they fail, there is no warning.
They're in Belgium.
It goes, yeah, yes.
Belgium.
Yes,
we're in Australia.
Yes.
On the other side of the world, on 40 meters at 5:30.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Chris, you're going to go down the beach somewhere? Yeah. Well, you could run remotely. Why don't you just leave your transmitter and everything at home? Doesn't matter what part of the country it's in. Just leave it all on there. Put her on the timer, mate. Put her on the timer. And then you can take your mobile device with you and run mobile from anywhere on the planet, basically. So
I can do that.
yeah,
That's actually wise.
shouldn't be a problem for anybody with your remote abilities then. And you are down a little bit today compared to normal. I'll make this my final because A, I'm out of booze, B, I'm cheesed off, and C, I don't want any more problems. So I'll just listen for a bit, and I'm going to go over to the house and cry in my non-existent beer. So yeah, over to you there, Robert, VK4DE, and I'll say evening, VK4PA.
Okay, yeah, fine, Tony. Alrighty. It's just one of those little projecty, doodaddy things.
That guy
Man's
must
got
be
to have a
running
hobby.
so much
An old
power.
man's got to have a hobby. Interesting.
Now.
Alright, can I'll address your light bulb problem, Brad. The problem with light bulbs is their a positive temperature coefficient low. So when the filament's cold, it's obviously low resistance and blah, blah, blah. When you put some current through it, you get a very high current surge, and that drops off as the resistance of the filament increases, and you get this equilibrium point where the bulb's designed to run. So, you know, what would happen is...
He's getting as strong as Robert.
Yeah, I've seen them used as loads for audio and stuff like that, but it's pretty evil ask. So with a transmitter, with an amplifier or whatever, you know, you're trying to drive into 50 ohms. 2 kilowatt bulb's not going to do it because 2 kilowatt bulb would be about 8.3 ohms. Cold, you know, so it's
He is
probably
as
less.
strong as the net.
Probably 0.83 of
Holy
an ohm
moly.
cold. But I did some quick calculations. There is a problem. I know some audio power amps, and I've done it too, you know, out with the old Paraflood 150. Drive him up. Oh, look, it lights up. It lights up with the music. I don't. Who needs you know, disco? But that is a bit of an ask because, you know, it's driving into a fairly low impedance and then it changes. And if you're doing RF, you pretty much want it to be 50 ohms all the time. You know, that's the whole idea of it. For the all right. Imagine this is just it's a copper base. This is the pallet. It's 25 mil by 45 mil or something. I did have a measuring stick here somewhere. Which my intention is to bolt it onto a chunk of copper. Like when I say chunk of copper, it's 10 mil thick, and it's 100 mil by 100 mil or something like that.
Dinner is starting to cool.
The idea of that is a heat spreader. So hopefully, copper being a better heat conductor than aluminium will take the heat out of the device fairly quickly and then spread it over to a large surface area bonded to the aluminium heatsink. That's theory. I mean, like, used a lot. This is pretty normal. Now, the problem you have, I think everyone's snoring by now and sleeping. The problem you have is there's a finite amount of thermal resistance between where the pellet's bonded to that copper that it comes with, like the copper mounting plate. So if that resistance
I need to find a spot.
even if it's fairly low, but the higher power rating, it means that there's going to be a huge increase in the pellet temperature versus what you get to the heatsink. This is the problem with all thermal loading devices like transistors and what have you. It's
I think
that
135 is usually used by another net, so I might have to go up to like...
the actual element that's doing the work. If it has a finite resistance, and so therefore that's limiting the amount of power you can actually get out of something, because you just can't take the heat away from it. Underneath a certain power level, and with good heat sinking, you can. But it's a very fine line. So you don't want to push it that hard. Hopefully, haven't lost anyone here. And you can calculate it out. Thermal resistance is pretty much the same as Ohm's law. You can calculate it out. The temperature rise that you would get with a certain amount of heat versus the temperature thermal resistance, and normally goes back to a theoretical infinite heat sink, or if you buy a heat sink, you'll see it has a temperature thermal resistance rating for air at 20 degrees C or 25, however they standardise that. And there are different standards, which tells you the amount of heat that thing will radiate and what temperature it should reach. So yeah, it's all calculated out. So yeah, the copper plate that I'm looking at using is only a heat spreader to take the heat away from the device as quickly as possible. Then that will go on to some aluminium heat sinking. Yeah, look, I wouldn't really want the temperatures getting high enough to cause too much of a change in size. That would be bad. Probably for the device, and just bad. Particularly for the solid state device, because that would say that it was probably well over 100 degrees C, and as we know, that's where the magic silicon turns back into sand. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Over to you, Chris, VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4 Golf Delta Lima. That background station, which is Oscar November 4 Bravo Whiskey, is as loud as both you, Robert, and Sean for me. They are incredibly strong, which is insane. They are a Belgium station, I believe, and apparently I did hear them say Pacific Long Path, so I don't know what antenna they're running, but my god, that must be an insane amount of power to do that. Do we want to move frequency, or do we want to put up with it? I might just ask Sean there, and yeah, actually I'll hand it over just to Sean just for a second if you want to do something. All right, VK4 NSP, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
Yeah, fine there, Chris. Yeah, I'm sorry I was out of the room for a little while there. I'm just getting the barbecue ready for dinner tonight, but yeah, I didn't actually hear it. So what actually happened? Did someone DX station come up, did they?
Yeah, they are as loud as both Robert and you. They are really, really strong. That's Oscar November 4 Bravo Whiskey, which is a Belgian station in Europe, which is like crazy to me. It's 40 meters and it's not even, well, 6 o'clock. Normally the DX doesn't start coming for another half hour, and especially not from Europe. That's nuts. So yeah, maybe it's just my noise floor. I don't know. Am I the only one that can hear them? Or I'm assuming that I think was it? I think Tony can hear them as well. But yeah, they are very, very strong. Alrighty. Actually, I might just hand it along. The one thing I wanted to mention is if you wanted to get heat away from something, the only thing I can think of is you're either trying to build a floor heater, or you're maybe a CPU heatsink, but I think that's only good for about 200 or 300 watts. I don't think that's good for 800. It might be a little bit too much for it. Anyway, one of those water cooling ones. All right, I'll hand it to Tony, and maybe you can have an idea about the DX there. VK4 PA, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
See if you can working.
Yeah, because your antenna is vertical, Chris, you're hearing a lot more than we are. I might got them about 5 and 5, well, not even 5 and 5, probably 4 and 5 or something. But because your antenna is vertical, you're probably hearing a lot better, so you might be able to try to work them maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I will though, unless they can hear me. Oscar Bravo 4, oh sorry, I screwed that up already. Oscar November 4 Bravo Whiskey, Victor Kilo 4 Golf Delta Lima. Yeah, I don't think so. Alrighty, I'll hand it along to Tony there. I don't have much else. VK4 PA, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
No, I'll take it. Tony's got the mic off there, Chris. Yeah, he's gone to QRP mode. Yeah, VK4GDL on the group, VK4HAX. Yeah, look, I can hardly hear them. I can just hear them on the inverted V. So obviously the path has not reached me just yet to the west of you. So yeah, but anyway, as long as you can hear me, that's the main thing. Yeah, no, I understand what you were saying there, Robert, about the use of filament lamps. I do know that they have a fairly huge inrush current when they're cold, and I do know that their resistance does increase as they start heating up. So, yeah, I know they have been used as, I suppose, the poor man's way of doing it when you've got nothing else, especially if you want to chuck a bit of power through something for testing or whatever. Yeah, so anyway, that's all good. If you're not going to if you're not going to have that much heat going through that setup there, it should work okay. I think the main problem is actually going to be the heat transfer from the internals of the said device to its actual mount with the the little leggies on it. Whether that's obviously there's some sort of a material that's insulating it electrically, well, for obvious reasons it would have to, but it's just how good that material is at thermal conductivity to get it into the outside world. Well, yeah, if you understand what I'm saying. Other than that, that's all I've got to add to the discussion of heat sinks. Obviously you're looking at a non-inductive load, or non-inductive,
Yankee Bravo for
non-RF radiating dummy load, which I don't think there's many of them because I can hear Tony through his. Unless you build the whole bloody thing inside a Faraday cage that's stuck outside and
definitely enable the waterfall and not have the audio fall apart.
And then you've got another one over the top of that that's also stuck to ground, staked.
Yeah, hear the phasing noise? You see how if you look at the waterfall, there's lines that are going like to the top left.
Between the copper
That's the
plate
QSB
and the
sound.
said device.
Getting it
Or
a lot
whether
on
you're going to immerse the thing in oil or whatever. Something along those lines. So, what's Tony sent me? He's just sent me a picky, so before I go, what have we got here? Oh, here's the call sign. Here's the call sign of the guy that's calling. He's, Oscar November 4, Bravo Whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's got, he got a pretty big tower by the looks of it on his, if you look at him up on QRZ, you'll see what he's got, but I've got him really low down, guys. It might be a different story when I send this back up to Sean. Maybe you guys can give us a bit of an update on whether you're getting them as well. All right, VK4 NSP in the group. VK4 Hotel Alpha X-ray.
Yeah, okay, Brad. VK4 HAX in the group. VK4 NSP. I can hear them, but it's not really affecting anybody here. It's nowhere near as strong as what they have been on this frequency over the last month or so. So it's not really affecting me here. Maybe just having the antenna vertical is probably what's affecting everything at the moment for Chris. And maybe we should still think about putting something up horizontal as well. But I would say that's why he's picking up the DX a lot better than what we are. Makes sense. And Tony's probably got the smaller loop on and sort of facing that way as well. Well, not really. It's off the antenna, I guess. But it's pretty close. So I don't know if he's moved his antenna to the northwest or something. But I'm not hearing it much here. Not like remember about a month ago we had a bit of Europe coming in. and they were really strong. And there was actually a few VKs actually making a contact on there as well. And they were really strong that particular day. And even I actually heard them at about 5 and 9. They were really strong. But not that strong here this afternoon, but I can hear it. And maybe having the antenna vertical, that's why Chris is hearing a lot better. And being a little bit further north, maybe too, I don't know. But yeah, how are you hearing it there, Robert? I guess you've probably got the same as everybody else there. You know, you can hear it, but you can't. It's not really affecting anybody. Over to you there, Robert. VK4DE and the group VK4NSP.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. I'm in IPO mode, so I'm 10 dB down. There was barely peaking S2, barely. For me, I mean, if I chuck 10 dB more gain in, I'll probably get them up around S5-ish or something like that. But yeah, they were certainly there, very, very definitely there. But no, nothing like S9. Oh, I don't know, could have been S5, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's just, yeah, a little bit 2 weeks work, and obviously, see the other side too. They're in a lot of European countries have very crowded bands. So not only do they have RFI to deal with, they've got very crowded bands. So yeah, they're kind of looking generally for stronger signals. So yeah. No, that's kind of what's happening with me. Now, Brad, just going back to this little equation. Say I can get my heat sink, inverted commas, and this goes for you too, Chris, down to 0.25 of a degree per watt. Right? You think, hey, that's 0.25 of a degree per watt. That's pretty cool. That's a great heat sink. That's a fantastic heat sink. That's probably almost approaching an infinite heat sink, which, is only a theoretical. At 800 watts, that would mean a temperature rise of 200 degrees above ambient. So, and I need to, find out what the actual thermal specs for this device are, because I'm not seeing it being much below about 0.4, to be honest. It could be 0.3 maybe, but you see the problem. What do you do? I mean, do you have water cool? Do you generate some sort of manifold that you can bolt it to? Getting heat away from devices is an absolute science in itself. I'd almost say black art, because it just gets hard. What do you do? I mean, it's going to have force there. There's absolutely no way in the world that you could have a heat sink. I mean, I've got some fairly large heat sinks, but to keep the temperature rise within safe limits is always the battle. Even a 50-degree hot heat sink burns. It really, 60, 70 degrees burns really bad. Because there's a lot of thermal capacity in there. It's like it just evaporates all the moisture out of your skin. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. And I've been down that path a few times. Oh, it's not getting warm. Oh, yes, it is. So, yeah. So there's part of the problem. It's not all beers and Skittles. I mean, once you get past, 100 watts, 200 watts, once you start looking at high power, and this becomes very important too, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I might just design a 1.5 kilowatt amplifier for whatever reason. Maybe ACMA go, yeah, you can have a 1.5 kilowatts. Ooh, wow. If you're looking at 50% efficiency, and I think you should probably design it for maybe 50%, maybe 40. You've got a genuine 1.5, maybe 1.9 kilowatts of heat to get rid of. Just putting it out there. Always interesting stuff. Over to you, Chris. VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. Yeah, I was a little bit slow on the transmit button there. Anyway, it's all good. Yeah, my antenna it's vertical-ish. It's mostly vertical. It's just about 5 meters at the bottom of it is kind of more horizontal towards the house. It's all good. The horizontal antenna is still up. It's just disconnected because I have no way of switching between the antennas. Because obviously, operating remote, that's not really a luxury I have to just unplug one of the the coaxes and put the other one in. He did drop it down a little bit, but he's definitely still there. If there was like silence on the band, he'd be readable 5 easily. I'm not quite sure what their signal strength is, but with a noise floor of 0, they're above that. So yeah. Anyway, I have seen a silly video of when you have a nice water cooling setup and then you take it to your pool. That would be a little bit. That's silly. He hasn't finished it yet, but that's one of the biggest YouTubers on. Well, I mean, I don't know if they're that big, but they're certainly definitely popular in the geeky crowd, I guess. Some people hate him, some people like him. That's the Linus Tech Tips there. But anyway, and yeah, I think I burnt myself in a soldering iron, but I usually like holding onto it just to make sure that it's gonna heat up on me. But no, I haven't burnt myself doing that. Usually it's hey, this cable, it just flicked onto me. Oh no, now I have a burn. Oh well, oh dear. It's all good. Yeah, I don't have too much else. That guy, he's not as strong as he was before, but he's probably readable 4 when you were talking, Robert. So at times, that's with you talking over the top of him. So yeah, he's quite strong there. Anyway, and I've recorded it as well. So yeah, I'll be able to to show you this if you want later. Alrighty, I'll hand it along to Tony. Oh no, Tony, is Tony there? I guess I'll hand it to Tony if he's not there. Brad can take it. I think he disconnected though. Anyway, VK4 PA, VK4 Golf Delta Lima.
No, all good there, Chris. I'll take it, mate. Yeah, VK4GDL, VK4HAX returning. Yes, no, Tony was actually getting them in an S6. He just sent me a message through the other medium there. Yeah, S6. So, yeah, and they've gone.
He's dropped
I
off now.
can't hear him at all. Yeah, and Tony indicated that he can't hear him anymore. So, yeah, it just might have been a bit of a good burst of skip conditions to your setup there, Chris. So that's probably what it was, mate. Yeah, they've gone. So, yeah, just got Russ has actually sent me a message. Sandbagging again. Yeah, there you go there, Russ. And why don't you drop in and say hello? I'll hand it to you if you want, mate. Straight after my over, and then you hand it back up to Sean, mate. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, no, I understand what you're up against with what you're saying there. Yeah, it is probably a bit of a black art with that one. It's just working it all out. Yeah, I mean, just bear in mind that theory doesn't sometimes work in practice. So yeah, because there's a few unknowns in the said device. Yeah, regardless of what tests they've done on it, and how quick you need to get rid of the heat from it, or how much you're going to give it up front, or whether you bring on the power on slowly to it, and you sort of get everything into equilibrium. Because you sort of got three or four different elements there. One will be or three of them. Let me have a look at the picture.
Russell's
Let me have a look
BG.
at that picture again. What have you got? Just open it up fully. All right. Okay. What have we got? We've got. Obviously, the device is made out of some kind of steel. Yeah, I'm looking at something that says an RM850 BED, right? It's got a white stickery thing on the front of it, and it's got 4 mounting holes, 2 on each side. Looks like it's got a raised centre bit to it, and then it's got 2 wings or 2 connectors, solderable connectors to the side of opposite the sides of where you bolted on. Okay, so what material is that made out of? Brass. Looks brassy to me. Okay, so that's got a different expansion ratio to the steel base, or whatever that base is made out of, whether it's aluminium or steel or something. It's silvery. And then, of course, you have your copper plate that you're going to set it on. So you've got, three or 4 elements. Well, you've got 3 metallic elements. You've obviously got some sort of metallic element inside the unit, which don't know what that is. So there's consideration. It's just something you'd have to be, I suppose, mindful of. I don't know how many of those units you're going to put on the plate, whether you're just going to use that one unit, or whether you're going to stick another one on the opposite end of it. But you've got sort of different thermal conductivity equations there with the various materials that are making up the said device. Just saying. Yeah. All right. Let's see if Sandbag has decided to say hello. Over to you there, Russ, and if Russ doesn't take it up, then back to you there, Sean. VK4BEG in the group, VK4HAX.
Righto, Brad. Yeah, good afternoon to the group, VK4BEG, and hopefully we're TX in. Can't really see the meter from here.
There we go.
Hello. Yep, looks like it's working. Sorry.
WFU is pretty bad because I can
sounds
control
like
the rig, but I don't know what offset it is. So the way to do that...
quite a good copy here. I didn't want to call in just before there because I probably would have blasted him a bit. So I figured it was safe now.
Probably about
a bit
15
like that
cycles.
going outside here at the moment with the baby magpie around. Make a bit of a racket, that's for sure. So we're just watching them this afternoon, which was quite. But otherwise, yeah, it's been a fairly warm, sticky sort of day. Didn't achieve a lot outside, that's for sure.
He would have just turned on his radio, and he uses an older, what do you call
a bit of shopping earlier.
Valve radio, I think.
And that's probably
He's
about
already
it.
almost on frequency.
I don't think I did much else. I started programming this Anytone mobile VHF UHF radio. I haven't got a programming cable for it though, so I've just put a couple of channels in there manually. I'll have to see if I can get a programming cable there. They want a few dollars for them. I was having a look there. I want about $30 for one, so I certainly don't give them away. Guess you could make your own. I suppose they're a USB one end, and the other end is your microphone, like your microphone plug there. You know, your RJ45 sort of thing. So I guess that wouldn't be too hard to put one together, I suppose. Probably just cut the end off a USB cable and join up a RJ45 to it.
I don't
I've
think
got a little crimper there somewhere. I might have to have a go at that. Right, no, signals are all pretty good from what I can hear, so I haven't heard Tony as yet. I heard Chris, Rob, Brad, and Sean. I'm not sure if anyone else is there, but hello if there is. And to the sandbaggers on the side there. Alright, VK4SP and the group. This is VK4BEG.
Yeah, VK4BEG and the group VK4NSP, and I might have keyed up on somebody then, but anyway. Yeah, you're a very nice signal there at the moment there, Russell, about 15 over, so nice and strong, and not too much QSP on yourself there.
There's got birds in the background.
Okay, I've just fired up the barbecue, so I might head off and finish off with dinner here. So I'll wish you a good evening to you there, Robert, Brad, Chris, and yourself there, Russell, and if you're listening there, Tony, have a good evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. So over to you there, Robert, VK4DE and the group VK4NSP.
Okay, yeah, sure, no problems. Yeah, have a good barbecue. Don't burn the sausages. I'm sure it'll all work out fine. Hi. Okay, we'll catch you another day. Yeah, all right. Okay. G'day, Russell. Yeah, it was good that you came on, and I got to actually exercise the clarifier.
So did I.
Giggles. That's all good. About 90 hertz high or something like that.
No, not 90. It's 20 hertz.
Yeah, 80 hertz high.
I had about 20.
But I'm sure that'll sort itself out. I mean, it's not a criticism, it's just an observation, you know. Now, there was something that you did mention earlier, Chris. Look, in general, I don't know how you're going to take this, but the male gives the signal. It's got the thing, the pin, you know, and it goes into the hole. So the male is the one with the pin. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's the, you know, that's how it all works out. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the end type with the pin in it is the male. The end type with the little hole doodad thing to receive the pin is the female. Yeah, so 239 is the female. The PL259 is the male. Pretty obvious. I mean, yeah. Anyway, when you think of it, just I'll leave it at that. Okay. Yes. Soldering. Oh, well, I can remember many a time. You know, when you drop a blob of solder onto your thigh, because whatever you're doing, the solder drops onto your thigh, you've got this choice. You can go, oh, it's burning, or I can hit it with my hand, burn even more area, even my hand. Yeah, what do you do with it? Yeah. You wouldn't want to be hanging on to my soldering iron tip when you turn it on. It will heat up pretty damn fast, and you will probably go, oh boy, I didn't realise that was pork cooking. That's me. Yeah, so they actually use RF, and I think it heats up to operating temperature in like about 15 seconds. So it's pretty damn quick. It's, you know, whip it fast. Yeah, you don't want to do that. The old Weller, yeah, you can sort of hold on to it and go, oh, it's getting warm. It's getting warmer. No, this one's like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, probably not good practice. Anyway, we'll see how that works out. Brad, the silvery coloured thing is actually tin copper. It's a copper plate that's sort of mounted. Whatever the resistance element is, it's obviously bonded to some insulator, and there's your problem. What the thermal coefficient of that insulator is, getting the heat. Well, it's got to do two things. One, it's got to conduct the heat away in a efficient manner, and two, it's got to insulate it for voltage and capacitance. You know, I mean, like, you know, you got a bit of capacitance there. I mean, the chip itself is probably fairly small, but the package is, as I say, 25 mil by 45 mil or something. quite weighty, nice piece of copper. The white thing you see is just like some sort of placky case to cover everything and make it all look pretty, like a cover on an RF transistor or something like that. Hopefully, if they've done their work properly, they've used beryllium oxide. Oh, I know. As the insulating material and bonded the resistor to the beryllium oxide. Just don't file it. It's not good for you. And definitely don't smoke it. Not good. But anyway, we'll see how that all pans out. So the idea is, yeah, that goes onto, and that brass-looking thing that it's sitting on is actually a chunk of copper. It weighs nearly a kilo. Yeah, that piece of thing that it's sitting on, 100 by 110 or whatever, weighs nearly a kilo, 850 grams. So the idea of that device bolts onto that. With proper heatsink compound. I might even lap the surfaces. Now there's another technique to get lower your thermal resistance a little bit more, and then that copper plate bolts onto the aluminium with heatsink compound on it. So there's no problem with dissimilar metals or anything like that. As long as the heatsink compound doesn't dry out, and if it does, well, too bad. Replace it. So all good. Okay, yeah, that's that one. I don't think there was anything else. You're coming through pretty good there, Russell. All good. Over to you, Chris, VK4GDL. VK4 to you.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. Hey, I'm not that fat, even though I might smell like pork when I burn. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, the male and female bits as well. Yeah, that always confused me, and that has kind of caused me some troubles in the past. But no. It's all good. Yeah, I did think it was the male because it had the pin, but sometimes you get like weird connectors like RPSMA, and they're like backwards, and then you get like SMA, and you never know which one's which. It's a mess. Anyway, at least with PL259 and SO239, they named them differently, which is probably actually even more confusing because when you look up PL259 female, that doesn't really give you the results I think you'd want. Anyway, hey, I want to ask Russell about the VNA. Did you you set the start and the stoppy bits so you can look better at your antenna, or did you struggle with the VNAs because they are? I don't know, the interface isn't really great on them, but they are, they're very interesting devices. Yeah, especially the Smith chart. The Smith chart is like a rabbit hole that is really, really complicated. The return loss and SWR, that's the same thing, and then they kind of tell you what you need to know anyway. The Smith chart though, it kind of helps when building balance, I think, because then you can choose your impedance a little bit better, get a better match. And when Russell turned on, they were only about, I think, 20 hertz off for me, or maybe they settled down to 20 hertz by the time I changed the RIT and then just turned the VFO, because I wanted to see how much they were actually off. And WFU, it just has a RIT button and a little tiny slider, and it doesn't actually tell you the frequency of the RIT, so that's kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, and I think food is ready, and I can eat it at any time. But yeah, if I go, then everyone probably else. Maybe there won't be many people left. That's all, unless we maybe QRZ some stations in. Anyway, all right, I'll hand it to Brad there. VK4 HAX, VK4 Golf Delta Lima. There's George.
Speak of the devil. Yeah, old George, or young George, shall I say? Yeah, that's better, Brad. Yeah, no, all good there, Chris. VK4GDL, and the group and acknowledging George. VK2 Foxtrot. G'day, George.
Usually George is very, very weak to me, but today is such a good day.
Oh, it's been more than a few days. I hope you're doing well.
Unless Mum turns on the stove. Yeah. Now that I've said that, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, just hang in there, mate, for one more station, and Russ will hand it to you. He's probably got a better copy on you than I have. So all good. All right, won't hold it. Keep it moving. over to you there, Russ, and if you can hand it to George, VK2FF and the group. Yeah, and then George, if you can hand it back to Robert, VK4GDL, when you're finished, mate. All right, take it away there, Russ.
Oh, okay, I thought I might have been back to Sean there, but Sean went to light the barbecue probably. Yeah, okay. All right, and good day to George there as well. And yeah, I thought I might have been a tad off frequency, and I thought I'll just leave it like that and see who whinges about it. But all good. Interesting on the soldier story as well. First of all, I was prior to Chris there. You know, I mucked about the VNA and I changed the sweep frequencies there, and just made it from 3 megs to 30 megs or something like that. So that was a lot easier to use. And I checked my couple of dipoles, seemed not too bad, but my tri-band of beam didn't look very good at all, which I had my suspicions about there. So yeah, we got to drop the little tower down there at one stage there and do some maintenance, or might even sell it yet. I don't know, that beam. Get rid of it there. It's a KT34 with the upgrade kit on it. So anyway, I'm not sure why it's not percolating that well. Could be a feed line problem too. I'll have to look into it a bit more there. And all good. So yeah, no worries on we worked that bit of the VNA out there. So yeah, YouTube's always good too. You can always go on there and get a bit of an idea of what other people are doing with them and stuff. So thanks for asking about that one there, Chris. And you're talking about dropping solder on your foot and that, or brings back a tear to my eye. And I must have only been, I don't know,
he's got like
16,
hundreds of videos
maybe, something like that. I used to muck around with a bit of electronic stuff back then. Probably started my apprenticeship sort of time there. Anyway, my bedroom in my house had carpet floor. So sometimes I'd do a bit of soldering in the bedroom there, and what I used to do is I used to stick the 240 volt cord under the door and then just prop the iron up so it was off the floor, just stick something under the iron. And because I didn't have a solder holder for it. Rough enough for us, that was. And anyway, lo and behold, I kicked that soldering iron and it went in between me 2 toes. Didn't bleed, of course, it cauterized it, but it sure made me eyeballs light up a little bit there. So it's a long time ago, but I'll always remember it.
I think I'll make my last
all right, we'll bug it down to George there. Just all going well there, George, and you can hear us all right. Hopefully the DX hasn't kicked up again, so we'll see how we go. VK2FF and the group, this is VK4BEG.
South Wales.
VK4BEG and the group, VK2 Foxtrot. Well, a very good evening there with Robert, Chris and Sean. As you say, you can hear us out in the barbecue. Tony's gone. Brad, great to hear you there, and thanks there, Russell. Yes, I've been listening every night. Don't you worry about that. I've been keeping tabs on you people every night, but signals are down. I'm just beginning to wonder whether I've had my antenna falling to bits or whether I've run over something with the lawnmower or something, because signals are way, way down the last 3 nights. So just wanted to see what's happening. So the fact that you can hear me at all is a good sign. So that's that. Yes, soldering irons are. Well, I actually had a uni student once who said which end of the iron gets hot. So he was able to find that out down the track a bit. But Robert, there's a lot of these hazardous substances that you're talking about beryllium. Yes, well, that's the problem. I've got the sort of modern heat sink components that go down beryllium in them, but when you pull something a bit that's a few years old, you always have to wonder. I've got some World War II vintage transformers, and which are beautiful transformers, but you can tell by just giving them a bit of a shake that they are filled with liquid. And one would have to wonder what that liquid was, and the same thing applies to some capacitors.
Just barely getting DX in the background.
It's always
That's
something
pretty
that
normal
you wonder about. But people use these things with immunity, like in the aviation industry, you have this skydroll hydraulic fluid, which is enormously dangerous. People use MEK with, just use it as if it was water. And of course, the really dangerous one, which I don't think exists anymore now, was methylethyl ketone peroxide. And that was, you get that in your eyes or something, there's no turning back. You've lost it. So, terribly, terribly toxic and dangerous things. And we seem to be handling these, and I built a garage once, totally out of fibro, and I helped my father build a house out of fibro, and it included fibro ceilings, and thankfully I'm still here. I didn't suffer the fate of poor old Gary Johnson from JCAR. That's one that I'll always remember. Okay, I've had enough to say. I'll say a very good evening to everyone, just to let you know that I'm still around and listening, just to make sure that they're not only getting the entertainment, but keeping track of what's going on up there. VK4GDL, you take it, Robert. VK2 Foxtrot.
Okay, George, good to hear you. All good. The signal strength's not so good, but yeah. Oh, look, we did learn, and you'll like this one. Hang on, VK2 Foxtrot, VK4DE, just in case I didn't do the advert. Yes, during World War II, there were the ladies generally, they were all ladies, who painted the fluorescent paint onto the hands and pointers of all the instruments. And they would, of course, just get the brush the right shape by putting it in their mouth. And, you know what I'm saying. That didn't work out too good for them neither. Beryllium was used, I'm pretty sure it's still used in special circumstances, but beryllium was used in quite a lot of the metal tetraodes and triodes used in transmitting tubes, quite a lot, because it worked. It was also used in a lot of the RF transistors, and I don't know when that was phased out, but definitely in the 80s. They used to come with a little warning, uses a beryllium, interface between the actual die and the, the heatsink device and blah, 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 and, it's perfectly safe, just don't chop it up or smoke it. Anything else? Nah, pretty good. You probably even eat it, but don't chop it up and don't smoke it. Dust, not so good. And, well, if you can get hot enough to smoke, it's probably not safe anyway. Yeah, I'm being a little bit frivolous on that one. But, yeah, okay, I think I've covered most everything there. I probably might think of going. Yeah, Chris, it's just those gender-neutral connectors. They really, get you confused. Is it or isn't it? Maybe. Over to you, VK4GDL, VK4DE.
Yeah, VK4DE, VK4, Golf Delta Lima. I'll have you know that the Anderson connector is a gender-neutral connector. It's actually, it's probably called a hermaphrodite connector, I think. Anyway, where you just flip it around and then it turns itself around and then they plug together and oh, look at that. There is no male or female, they just connect together. It's all good. Yeah. I think it was radium paint that was the toxic paint, wasn't it? Was it radium or maybe it was something else? I'm not sure there. Yeah, George is only they are still readability 5 because, the band conditions are wonderful today, but they're only strength 3. So, well, at least 3 on the ICOM 7300. I'm not sure what that's meant to be. Like, what, a 5x6 or something? I don't know. The ICOM's a little bit silly like that. Anyway, but yeah, George, are you still running the mag loop? I think that's about the only question there. And yeah, Russell's peaking up to about a 30 over. So yeah, the signals are otherwise pretty good. I think George is usually about a 5x5 or 5x6 to me, but at the moment they're only 5x3. So yeah, I think you are right that your signals are a little bit down today. And as for Russell, I think most of what I know about the VNA, I think it comes from W2AEW. There's some videos on YouTube. He's probably got like hundreds of them on the Nano VNA. But things like measuring your coax feed line and like the SWR return loss difference and will the feed line length affect SWR? Those type of videos are amazing. Very, very good resource and knowledge there, and he's got like hundreds of them on the VNA. So yeah, I've watched a fair few of them. But yeah, it is one big rabbit hole that you can fall down, especially when you get into like your complex impedance, which is your Smith chart there. But yeah, no, it's pretty fun though as well. Like, you know, antenna design and stuff like that. I managed to play with that before I was licensed. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, and that's how I figured out how, you know, my Ballon needed to be slightly less than 4-1 to get a very good match on 40. That was when I was running the off-center fed. Now I'm running the vertical. Obviously, there's no Ballons in the mix anymore. Alright. Oh, apart from the feed line chokes, but yeah, it's a bit different. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna say 73 here, and I'm gonna go eat. I will still listen unless girlfriend yells at me to take the headset off, which is possible. So it's all good. Alrighty, I'll catch us all later. Oh, all tomorrow, I guess. Alright, I'll hand it to Brad there. VK4, HAX, VK4, Golf Delta Lima, and 73.
Yeah, nah, good on you there, Chris. Yeah, VK4GDL and the group, VK4HAX returning.
I'll do that, and then I'll wait for it to stop, I guess. I've never done really YouTube streaming before.
Quite a,